The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
I'm CJ.
And if I sound funny, I had dental surgery today, and the whole left side of my head is frozen. So
I thought you got beat up by the goon squad from the 6th floor.
Even my eyeballs frozen. I used so much Novocaine.
Well, let's start out with some great stuff going on here in Fall River. I don't know how many people read Mark Dion's column on the 8th.
Mm-hmm.
Put it out at 7 o'clock last night. You ask a question, you shake the 8 ball. I find his columns very humorous at times. So I want to look at some of these questions. You ask a question. What do you call it when you give a guy money to invest in his business and the business fails? Bad investment. What do you call it when you give a guy money to invest in his business and he puts the money in his pocket, I asked. Fraud. What's going on with, was my next question. Decay. Who is Thomas Field? Huh? What do you call a guy who robs your grandmother's purse to buy heroin, I asked. Victim of Big Pharma. You know, some of these questions are funny. Are taxes going up again? You may rely on it. Will every candidate promise to move the city forward? You may rely on it. I want real answers. Everyone does. So, you know, it's a funny column, but it speaks volumes. Because you know what? We hear the same thing every year, whether it be for this local, the municipal, the state, the federal election. We hear, I'm going to move it forward. I want transparency. I want total transparency. And we've heard it. How many times are you going to hear it before you don't believe it anymore? That's my big question, Chip.
Well, you can pretty well figure out within the first 100 days if things are going to go differently.
Right.
And they don't normally. So as soon as they keep the same people in, they have the same, they have the same attitude that taxes have to go up every year and fees have to go up, and they give out huge pay raises. And, you know, that's one of the things. You don't have to be a prognosticator to figure out what's going to go down in an administration. Normally, within the first 100 days, you know, they're not going to change the world, but you'll see a change in direction. You'll see.
You hope to, anyway.
Yeah, well, you hope to. When we haven't in the last, you know, in a long time. I mean, we've ended up with.
Now, you know, the thing is, you know, we talk about taxes and fees, and they're always going up, and people are saying, oh, but with this mayor, you know, he got rid of a fee. He got rid of the $10 fee. Okay, let's give him credit. He got rid of the $10 fee. Okay, and we know that he supports the purple bags. So you're not going to get rid of that under this mayor.
Yeah, but you know, CJ,
but then guess what? There's nothing else to show us where we saved any money.
Well, he didn't save it because, look, you know, a fee is a tax. He didn't get rid of the fee. The money from that fee is still being collected in some other means because it's still in the budget. As a matter of fact, if he eliminated that fee, our budget would have decreased.
That's right.
The fact is that with all the pay raises and other things, we continually increase. So, you know, look, let's not get the con job on eliminating the fee. Just like the purple bags. Anybody who eliminates the purple bags will still have to account for the money that gives the economy, brings to the city. So it's in the budget. Even though it's been overestimated, it still brings in some money. So the fact is we still got to get money. It's like saying, well, I'm going to charge my son a fee, and I'm going to help, that's going to help pay the electric light bill. And then I say, okay, I'm not gonna charge you that fee anymore, son. But I still need the money to pay the electric light bill. So whether it's because I'm charging him a fee or I reduce his allowance, I still got to have the money. You know, that's the thing that always fascinates me. They talk about we're going to eliminate the purple bags. Well, yeah, we can eliminate purple bags tomorrow. Well, we've got contracts that will cost us money to get out of and stuff, but we can eliminate them. You can't eliminate what that money from the purple bags was dedicated to in the budget. It's still there. It doesn't disappear. You don't throw that, you don't throw that money that was earmarked to pay for something. What it was paying for does not disappear from the budget. So it's all a crock. The bottom line is, I don't care what you call it. You know, a rose by any other name and a pile of crap by any other name is still a pile of crap. The fact is, the elimination, the day you'll see that elimination of anything in this community is actually elimination is the year that they don't raise taxes and fees. Then we can say, okay, as a matter of fact, if they reduce some fees, then you can say we actually did it. We actually got rid of this. Because you don't get rid of it, you just change the name. Because the budget is the budget. You know, you can call your gas bill, you know, you can call it the water bill,
Now,
but you still got to pay it.
Let's not talk about that. My water bill went over $400
I know.
this quarter.
But, and that's the key. The key is, look at the astronomical increases in all the fees.
Right.
Yeah, they got rid of the $10 fee. And now we're paying $700 more a year in fees and another $400 in taxes. So they got rid of a $120 a year fee, and they gave us $1,400 in tax and fee increases. That's not a bad deal.
No,
last time I checked, they were making a lot more money.
Yep.
So let's just, this is a, you know, this is a ploy. It's a lie to make people, I'm going to get rid of the purple bags. Well, you know, you still don't get rid of whatever those purple bag income pay for in the budget. That is not eliminated from the budget.
Well, you know, and again, you know, I have a couple of arguments on that, but they're not made for this show. And well, they are made for this show, but it would take an entire show to deal with. And we've got something more important. Seems that the mayor and corporate counsel, Joe Macy, were served with notice yesterday. America's United for the Separation of Church and State sent a letter to the mayor and to corporate counsel Joe Macy dated August 8, 2017. Dear Mr. Macy and Mayor Correa, we have received a complaint that the city of Fall River is providing preferential treatment for a religious event that it does not provide to non-religious events. The Great Feast of the Holy Ghost and hosts an annual feast in a city park. We understand that the city routinely waives fire department fees and police overtime fees for the feast, but routinely collects those same fees and costs from other nonprofit organizations that use the park for similar events. Providing exemptions and waivers for religious organizations that no other group receives violates the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Please treat all groups equally, either by removing the special waiver for the feast or providing the same waiver to all groups, whether religious or not. At its core, the Establishment Clause prohibits governmental bodies from taking any action that communicates a message of endorsement of religion. I'm not going to get into quoting all the sections of case law on this, but there's a lot of it that they have.
There's a lot of case law. There sure is.
I mean, this is a 2-letter page, okay? So, providing a fee waiver to the feast while charging everyone else runs afoul of the constitutional mandate. Please ensure that the fees and charges for the use of public property are not being assessed in a manner that provides a special benefit to religious organizations. Either the fees should be charged the same fees as everyone else who uses the park, or the fee waivers should be applied equally to all other similar activities. We would appreciate a response to this letter within 30 days that advises how you plan to proceed. If you have any questions, you may contact the attorney's name at 202-466. This is he's in Washington, D.C. And it's sincerely signed Richard B. Katsky, Legal Director, Eric Rothschild, Senior Litigation Counsel, and Ian Smith, Staff Attorney. So, the Great Feast of the Holy Ghost, which I've said numerous times, gets their police and fire and inspection fees all waived, but organizations that have other events in the parks, like the carnivals, have to pay all those fees. This is not fair. Obviously, they cited plenty of case law which says it violates the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution.
Yeah, but there we go again, citing the Constitution.
Citing the law.
We've only cited the Commonwealth of Massachusetts' Constitution 8 million times on this show, and everybody in this state ignores it.
Right.
Because, and that's the problem. And they're right. The right is that, look, if they're not going to pay fees, no other nonprofit should pay fees.
That's right.
That's just the way it is. But there is a separation of church and state that is guaranteed by the Constitution of the United States. And it's, like you said, there's tons of case law on this. So we're going to have to see. This is really interesting because I'm really, really looking forward to see what the city's response to this is.
And the city's response, now understand something, and I'm talking to the taxpayers here. The city's response to this should be simple and easy. To the board members of the Great Feast of the Holy Ghost, please be advised that effective immediately, you shall pay forthwith all fees, assessments, and costs associated with city services. End of story. That's police, fire, inspectional services, food, electrical, plumbing, everything. And then they alleviate a potential lawsuit.
Yeah.
But of course, we don't want to, of course, this corporate council, this city has never, and it's not only this corporate council, other corporate councils have done the same thing, don't ever want to take the easy way out of solving the problem. They want to take the hard way. And if this becomes case law, guess what? Maybe the taxpayer can seek restitution of all the tax dollars spent in the previous years in the form of tax credits on their bill. Don't you think that would bankrupt the city?
Well, that would. Because I can tell you one thing. They saved a ton of money over the years on all these fees. And I know one thing. They didn't spend it on animal food.
That's right.
Because half the animals that were up on that Westport farm, they said were used in this feast. And
that's the health department's fault. Because guess what? They never inspected the animals like they're required to do. Because the park department has on the thing, health board, animals. And they didn't sign off on that. And if they did sign off on it, then maybe the Westport people who filed a lawsuit against these farmers should go after the city of Fall River and file suit against them because they allowed it. So Fall River and this administration, because he was part of it, contributed to the delinquency and to the detriment of these animals. It's really a sad situation. And people are saying, oh, but the Great Feast brings us people. No, it doesn't bring us anything. It brings us crime.
Yeah, what has the Great Feast over the course of all these years done to Fall River?
Nothing.
The fact is, if it had a really positive economic impact on this city, we would have seen it. The fact is that, look, there are concession stands on site, and they walk across the street maybe to the Portuguese restaurants that are, 5 steps away from the park. But the reality is, most of the people that come here are from out of the country, and they don't really do anything in Fall River. They don't. They stay with relatives. They come in campers. Number one, we only have one hotel anyway, and so, it's not like they come to the city and do anything except attend the feast, and they stay within the proximity of the feast. So the reality is, look, this is a political thing. There's a whole bunch of people there. There's a whole bunch of photo ops. And the politicians always make sure that they do everything they can to make life as easy as possible for this particular group. If we only did that for small businesses in Fall River.
I know. Can you?
If we only did that for people who want to invest in this community. I know there's an individual, something that came over from Vietnam or Cambodia, you know, and was on a boat for I don't know how long, was a refugee, and established a very, very lucrative business. He was looking to relocate. He got absolutely no help from the city. He doesn't want to move out of the city. He employs people in the city. He's a good employer. He's a successful businessman. But again, this community picks and chooses who they help. All small businesses should get the same kind of help. This should be a business-friendly community. We should do everything we can. But everything that happens here is like the 100-year war. There's always a problem. When have we ever done anything in the last decade that there hasn't been a permitting problem, a funding problem, we didn't get the accurate representations, and now here we are with the King Philip Mill, another fiasco. And they tried to point the blame at the Historical Commission. Well, I blame the city of Fall River. How many years have we been talking about things like this? The only thing that changes is the name. Have we ever developed a system to fast-track businesses? Have we ever developed a system where a business can walk into Fall River and say, I want to invest in this community? And there's immediately they are given the paper. And they said, okay, this, you know, this is who you have to see. This is the permitting process. This is the process you have to go through. These are the people. Or even better yet, have those people available for these businesses.
Well, you know, interestingly enough, I've helped a couple of businesses locate to New Bedford, and I've been with them at this. And the first thing that happens in New Bedford when you approach the mayor's office that you want to locate your business there is a meeting is called almost immediately, within a day, sometimes the same day. And you sit down in a room at a huge conference table, and every single department head is present. The mayor, their chief of staff, building inspectional services, plumbing inspectional services, electrical inspectional services, health department, the historic commission, everyone is present, regardless of whether they're necessary or not. And they all say, that site here is got this, this, and this is what you will require. We'll need to see the plans for that building. And they walk you right through the process. And they shoot for what they call a 90-day turnaround time. 3 months, that's not a big turnaround time.
No.
And they're talking from that meeting to shovel in the ground. And most of the time it happens in a shorter period of time. Because they made it easy for business to go there. Why is New Bedford so successful in attracting business? Because they don't go through this public debacle every time there's a project.
You're right, and one of its best feeder systems is Fall River.
Exactly.
Because many businesses have come to Fall River, had such a nightmare of an experience that the New Bedford is waiting for them. Mayor Mitchell, all the way back to Mayor Kalis, Scott Lang, they're all waiting to pick up Fall River's businesses, because they go to Fall River, it's a horror show.
Exactly.
They go to New Bedford, and look, all we have to do is look at colleges. I mean, look, if a college, show me a college that doesn't have a financial aid, a very good financial aid department, also a college that's not successful.
That's right.
Because they've got to get people the money to attend their college. That's the business they're in. They're in the business of educating, but they're more in the business of recruiting people to pay, because without tuitions, they don't run.
That's right.
And so you have a financial aid department. So, you know, it's like Fall River has been living in a cave, because you go to most cities, exactly the same thing that happens in New Bedford happens in most of these cities. You go in there, you're going to bring a business in, They welcome you with open arms. They give you all the assistance you can. They ensure that, that you know what you are required to do. As you said, you have buildings and electrical and plumbing and fire and the historical commission. And if you can't get them in one room in a day or so, you make sure that you set up meetings as quickly as possible to allow these people to come in. It's just common sense. But does Fall River ever display common sense?
Yeah, right.
No, they screw it up, and then they spend the next month blaming oh, he did it. No, she did it. No, it was this commission. No, it was that. This one wrote it on the wrong letterhead. Oh, yeah, that's not what I meant. Oh, it's absurd.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I'm not into the interpretation
Yeah.
mode.
What are we going to interpret this month? It's like we need interpreters to interpret even statements that are made that seem fairly clear. So, look, let's not blame anybody but ourselves. We elect these people. We allow them to continue to do business this way. We allow them to continue to raise our taxes. And then we complain afterwards. It's like the state, it's like the sales holiday now. They took a recess, and then the Ways and Means guy said, oh, if we gave heaven forbid you give the taxpayer a break.
Catastrophic.
It would be catastrophic if the poor working people got a weekend where they got a break. But it wasn't catastrophic when they found the ways and means to fund their pay raises. So, you wonder why people, are angry. And everybody that's upset that Donald Trump is in the White House, remember, he's there because people were fed up. And that's what's happening in Fall River. People are fed up. And when they get so fed up, hopefully they'll make a change. Because the reality is we can't continue to do business this way and ever expect this community to move forward. It just won't happen.
And I personally believe the voter has to just finally suck it up and say, you know what? All 9 of you have had an opportunity. Nothing has changed. Fall River is still in the situation it was in. All 9 of you need to go. Okay? Mr. Mayor, you had 2 years. It doesn't seem to be working out. There's too many questions. You even have companies which are saying that they can't do business with Fall River until all of this allegations are cleared up, and they don't trust the city. Maybe we need a new mayor. School committee, we still have the poorest school system in the state, one of the poorest. And you have 3 people running for re-election. You know what you tell those 3? Thank you very much for your service, but it's time for you to go. It's time for you to go. There's been no significant improvement in the school system. Don't go by what you feel. Don't go by, he's a nice guy, she's a nice woman, she's great, she has pretty dogs, she's done this, no. Go by what actually you see. Don't vote with your heart, vote with your head.
Yeah, well, I've got to say that, I've got a little different perspective. When it comes to mayor, the mayor's the chief executive officer. If he's not doing a job, my belief, every 2 years they're going to be out. When it comes to council and school committee, though, I look at the individuals and I look at what their positions were. Because in many cases, we've had people who are on the school committee and the city council who have taken the right position and have attempted to move the city forward in many cases and have opposed things that are detrimental, but they're either in the minority and they don't get it through, and sometimes, the majority are on the wrong side of the issue. I'll vote for somebody who I feel has basically been on the right side. And that's one of the problems of being a city councilor. Being a city councilor is a very, very difficult job in a city like Fall River because it's just so blatantly political. You get on a city council, and normally you had people that were like, if the mayor proposed to have, death camps built, they'd support it. The fact is that, you know, and we've allowed those counselors to remain. I think you look at the person's performance, you look at the positions they took, and that's problematic, you know, because sometimes people go, well, you know, I got outvoted. I was on the right side of the issue, so okay. But then it's up to us to put other people in, because, you know, you can always look at it from a very skeptical angle and say, well, it's easy to be on the right side when you know the right side isn't going to prevail. Now, if you're going to be on the right side of an issue and then the political machine is against it, you really have to stand up. But we have to put a majority of people in these groups and committees, and school committee or city council, that will actually move the agenda of the taxpayer forward. Not the agenda of a particular mayor, not the agenda of a particular well-connected businessman, but the agenda of the people. As I said, many years ago, they didn't raise taxes every year. Now they tell us they have to raise taxes, and even Dion in his column, I forgot what he said, you know, when he asked about taxes, he asked the eight ball about
it. You can rely on it.
You can rely on it. Well, we shouldn't rely on it. You know, we shouldn't rely on it. It should be something, a tax increase, as we've said, every economist has said you can't tax your way to prosperity. A tax increase or a fee increase has to be predicated on being necessary. Not just, you got to pay more every year, because this is like the federal government now. If you don't use all your money, they cut your budget. If you use it all, they increase your budget. So, okay, people, everybody pay. And every year we give everybody pay raises and waste more money because we keep going to your wallet. Well, no, that's not the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be, well, we need to increase the taxes a little bit this year because, you know, people in the city got a pay raise in line with what the rest of the world is getting. And we've cut all the fat out of the budget, and we've got to get a little bit of a pay raise. Or we've got this project or that project earmarked, and this is one of the reasons we're going to go up a little bit. But maximum tax increases and gigantic fee increases every single year is the Goebbels method of running the government. They've been telling us this lie for a decade now. As a matter of fact, I remember Ken Fiola going before the city council and declaring, I don't know what people have got a problem with, your taxes are supposed to go up every year. Really? There are people whose pays haven't gone up in a couple of years.
Unless you work for the city of Fall River.
Unless you work for the city of Fall River, that's right. So, you know, let's look at things, you know, objectively and realize that this is the reason that they say a break for you and a break for me by having a tax holiday would be a catastrophic blow to this state. But their $35 million pay raise wasn't a catastrophic blow. It was just business as usual.
Well, we will be having a school committee primary. Mark Costa filed his papers on time, so we will be having a school committee primary. I hope that this opened your eyes a little bit. You have a great day, and we'll see you on Friday.
Yeah, see you Friday. Hopefully my swelling is down.